in order to save ourselves, we need to stop all immigrations right now, all immigrations in all Western nations. We already have plenty of immigrants. We are beyond capacity in every nation in the West, and we need to make sure we assimilate these people into our societies. We need to make sure we vet who we already have living inside, and anybody who's linked in any way to terrorism or radicalism. Because, people who commit these terrorist acts, they brag about it on their social media. There is an electronic track record as to how they started going down a bad path, the path of radicalism. So there is a trace, whether through friends, whether through social media posts, people that know them. So the first thing that we need to do is start monitoring who's in our country, who we believe is going down the wrong path, and immediately cut off all immigration to any nation, especially suspected nations that import radical Islamic ideology.
And welcome to the Viktor Frankl Podcast. This is Laura Fine, and I'm here with my co-host, Rabbi Daniel Schoenbach, and we are thrilled to welcome here today Brigitte Gabriel to talk to us about the events, her reaction to Bondi Beach, and the election of Mayor Mamdani. So let's just jump right in. Brigitte, tell us, what were you thinking when you saw the carnage in Australia?
I was horrified. I was sad, like any normal human being would be, watching innocent people celebrating a religious event with their family, basically worshiping God, thanking God. Hanukkah is the holiday of lights, spreading joy, and to see someone so filled with hatred that they would stand there and shoot and enjoy killing innocent bystander, just standing there celebrating their faith. It is a sad a statement as to where we are as a society, general Western society, because right now we are witnessing this level of hatred rising all over Western nations, not just Australia, America, Europe, and
Canada.
It's very sad.
Yeah, I noted the combination of a father and son, supposedly trained by ISIS. Is this an elevation of what's going on? I haven't seen such, let's say, intergenerational violence in my life. What's going on in that aspect of the conflict with Islam today?
Actually, I haven't seen that type of coordination between family members since Lebanon. In Lebanon, I come from the security zone. And when Israel was working with the Christians and helping the Christians in the security zone in Lebanon, suicide bombers started ramping up. So Israel made a law that you have to have two people in the car instead of one, because they thought if two people are in the car, somebody's not going to blow himself up and become a suicide bomber if he's got somebody else. The last suicide bomber before I left and came to the United States was a man who blew up his car with his wife and 4 of his children, babies, riding in the car. So the commitment to kill Jews transcends selfishness, because when you are willing to give up yourself, your wife, your children, working with your father, your mother, your family member, because we have seen also in the Palestinian territories, mothers dressing their sons in suicide belts and sending them out to die. So when it comes to the Islamic radicalism, this is actually very normal, finding family members working together. Actually, the father probably was very proud of the son, and the son was very proud, showing his father what a good jihadist he has become.
It's really just so depraved. Tell me, what, in your view, do you think Western societies should be doing to protect themselves from this type of thing? I mean, we also have had so much other violence across the Western world. What do you think that we should be doing better?
The first thing we need to be doing better is take our enemy at their own words. We need to accept the fact that we cannot reflect our values on evil people. We cannot judge evil people based on the way we judged people who are born and raised in a civilized Judeo-Christian nation. Because once we come to the realization that we are dealing with barbarians, savages, I do not know what's the proper word, because this is beyond, because savages kill to save themselves. Savages kill to eat. But we are witnessing right now is people who have lost all consciousness, who are willing to kill children, like the Bibas children who were captive by Hamas in the Palestinian territories, and killed in the most horrific way they were killed, and then be made to look like they died in a bomb. The first thing that we need to do as Westerners is understand the barbarity we are dealing with. And once we accept the fact that, we have misjudged these people because we reflected our values on them, and obviously they do not adhere to our values or follow our values, and therefore we have to treat them accordingly. Therefore, we have to say, in order to save ourselves, we need to stop all immigrations right now, all immigrations. In all Western nations, we already have plenty of immigrants. We are beyond capacity in every nation in the West. And we need to make sure we assimilate these people into our societies. We need to make sure we vet who we already have living inside, and anybody who's linked in any way to terrorism or radicalism. Because, people who commit these terrorist acts, they brag about it on their social media. There is an electronic track record as to how they started going down a bad path, the path of radicalism. So there is a trace, whether through friends, whether through social media posts, people that know them. So the first thing that we need to do is start monitoring who's in our country, who we believe is going down the wrong path, and immediately cut off all immigration to any nation, especially suspected nations that import radical Islamic ideology.
Major move. But, when you look at the fact that the son, I believe, was already on the police's radar in Australia, you can see what a poor job we're doing using the resources you just mentioned.
That's right. And this is exactly why I say we need to take our enemy at their own word. If somebody is on the watch list, they're there for a reason. They are already representing a threat or a potential threat. So why are we keeping them in our country? So we can waste our taxpayer dollars paying our intelligence agencies to sit and monitor people that we know at one point or another they're going to commit a terrorist attack and kill our people, innocent civilians. I mean, Laura, we've seen this happen in the United States. We've seen this happen in Canada. I mean, when you look at previous terrorist attacks that either were foiled or took place, we realize that all these people were on the terror watch list. We were monitoring them, but nobody did anything. Everybody was afraid to say anything. Well, right now we are losing innocent people on mass scale, and that this needs to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is when our people begin pressuring our elected officials. We, the citizens, need to put enough pressure on our elected officials to do the right thing. And I believe this conversation needs to be had within the Jewish circles more than any other group of people. Because if you look at the United States or at Canada, it's the Jewish community who is very active politically and who is pressuring under the Democratic Party, for example, for open borders, welcoming people into the country, let's not judge others. So I believe it needs to start there and go out to other groups.
Let me ask you a question about something else. What about the impact of CARE, which is a branch of the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States? Did Donald Trump go far enough with his executive order to stop the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States? And if not, what should we be pressuring him to do right now?
President Trump did not go far enough, but it's a start. His executive order is a start. You know what they say? The way you get a camel in the tent is get the nose first, and then you can get every part little by little. The reason why he did not go as hard in the United States, because you've got 29 front Islamic organizations in the United States who are on the list of the Muslim Brotherhood mentioned in the Muslim Brotherhood Project. So when you put CARE aside for now, NATE, the North American Islamic Trust, owns the deed to 95% of mosques in the United States. Designating them as a terrorist organization will basically designate 95% of mosques in America as terrorist organizations. So this is how you see what a dangerous track this could be, especially within our freedom of religion. You cannot go after a religion. People in America are allowed to build any house of worship, and they are welcome to come to America and build any house of worship. So it's a slippery slope. However, this is exactly why we're going after states to do what we did already in Texas, what we do in Florida, what we are doing right now in Arizona, by the way, to make sure we start designating CARE as a terrorist organization, as well as the Muslim Brotherhood, and knock the states down one by one. Because once you pass it in 20 states, then there is precedent. Then you can introduce it in Congress and have a major vote in Congress. Having said that, we already have 2 bills in Congress to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization and CARE, one in the Senate and one in the House. And I encourage people to go to our website, actforamerica.org, actforamerica.org. Click on our Act Now campaigns and take action on those campaigns designating the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. And make sure you sign up to receive our action alerts. So as we introduce these bills in different states, and I know a lot of people watching us right now or are watching on the internet, and they do live in different states. So whether you live in Alabama, whether you live in New York, whether you live in Kentucky, whether you live in whatever state, North Carolina, we want to be able to reach you when we introduce a bill in that state designating CARE as a terrorist organization, as well as the Muslim Brotherhood. So go to actforamerica.org right now, sign up to receive our emails and action alerts. And look, start a chapter. We are organizing communities and states nationwide. Start a chapter in your community so we can work with you on impacting local policy with local legislation affecting your state.
Wonderful.
Okay, so let's talk now about the upcoming danger to New York, which is the Zohran Mamdani phenomenon, a man who I call the Goebbels, the Joseph Goebbels of the Democratic Socialists of America, a guy who presents genocide with a smile. He's about to come into power in the next few weeks, actually, January 1st. What's his game plan? You've seen this before happen when you were a child in Lebanon. You've seen it happen in other cities around the world. Sadiq Khan in London. What's his game plan? How is he going to utilize these evil forces to take down New York City and the rest of the country?
It's very worrisome what's happening in New York. I mean, look at the people that he's appointing already. Look at the one that just had to resign. So,
Exactly.
birds of a feather flock together. When you look at Mamdani, and his biggest supporters were Linda Sarsour, a Palestinian radical activist, would have her family member thrown are rotting in Israeli jails for years because of terrorism links. When her own family members were investigated by the FBI, when Siraj Wahhaj, Imam Siraj Wahhaj, who was involved in an unindicted co-conspirator linked to the bombing of the World Trade Center, when they are very close to Mamdani, and he called them friends and mentors, etc. What else do we expect? What do you think he's going to populate his administration with, or his core group? And this is why we are very concerned. New York made the decision. They made their bed. Now they have to lay in it, and it's going to be very uncomfortable and very painful for the last 4 years. And it's not going to be good for New York. All we can do right now is resist, and organize. That's the only way we can fight Mamdani and his ilk in New York.
And what do you predict are the policy changes he's going to make it easier for Islamists to take over New York City? What are the policies he's going to use right now?
Oh, he's going to use everything he is able at his disposal to open up the floodgates to allow people to come to New York. I think a lot of Islamists from all over the country are going to flock to New York. They're going to feel safer. They're going to be able to organize. They're going to make sure that now that they got a hold of the biggest, most influential city in the United States, they're going to make sure they're going to have enough power within that state to maintain control forever and ever. That's That's the concern. And once he is going to be in office, I mean, look the way he reacted today. That even despite the fact that the guy who committed the terror attack at Brown University, despite the fact that he came here, he was a student. Mandani today said, we are going to continue. We're not going to restrict immigration. Everybody is welcome. Basically open the floodgates to New York. So he is unfazed by whatever happens, whatever terrorist attack is committed by not illegal immigrants, but any people who should not be in our country, whether they came here because they came under the visa lottery program, like the guy who committed the terrorist attack at Brown University. Those are the type of policies that concern me. Opening the floodgates and bringing in people to New York and start passing bills that will be very bad for national security.
And you kind of already knew about this in your books. I mean, already in 2006, you wrote the book Because They Hate. Then They Must Be Stopped in 2008, actually. And then the book Rise. So you're kind of like the prophetess of what's going on. What's your message right now for the Jewish community and for the United States?
For the Jewish community, open your eyes. Right now, it's about self-preservation. I know a lot of the Jewish community identifies with the Democratic Party. Look, I used to be a Democrat. I'm a 9/11 Republican. I'm strong on national security. But right now, we need to open our eyes and realize we need to protect the Jewish community in the United States. The second thing I tell people, you need to become engaged in action, not just education. We can educate until the cows come home. Nothing's going to change. We are so good at having educational platforms and conferences and forums and presentations and inviting speakers. That does not impact policy. While we are educating, the Islamists are organizing. They are winning election. They are organized politically. We need to do the same thing. The time for action is now. Start a chapter in your community. Go to actforamerica.org. Start an Act for America chapter. Let's start working together as Jews and Christians and atheists and Hindus and Buddhists and gays and people who care about this country, who are on the same page, who say we are not going to allow under our watch any religious group to be targeted. Look, we are against Muslims being targeted. You and I and Laura right now on this program, that three of us will scream to high heaven if somebody walked into a mosque and started shooting innocent people worshiping their God on a Friday afternoon, or just people gathering at a beach to celebrate whatever, some Eid or something or other. We would condemn their killer as much as we are condemning Islamists who are killing Jews. So this is not about, we are just anti-Muslim. We need to come together as people who care about humanity, who care about human rights, who care about peace and security, who care about preserving the greatest nation on the face of the planet, the United States of America. We need to come together and work together and lock arms together and even welcome moderate Muslims who want to work with us against the radicals in order to stop this insanity. And so I encourage people, again, go to actforamerica.org. I named the organization Act for America. Not think about America, not hope for America, not pray for America, not wish for America.
Not educate for America, but to act.
Not educate for America, but act for America. That's the only way we're going to be able to make a difference.
Brigitte, thank you for your passion and your insight. It's really a pleasure to have you on again. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much. And I wish you both and our viewers happy Hanukkah and happy New Year. Hopefully the new year will be better than this one.